So guys, a Yoruba lawyer and an activist, both of them are making case for Nnamdi Kanu to be released. The lawyer is saying if the federal government can negotiate with bandits and all kinds of persons, that for fairness sake, they should see how to resolve that of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. This other activist is also saying that Nnamdi Kanu is just going through persecution, that they killed his father, they killed his mother, they killed his family people, and they keep persecuting him. But before we get into this video, take a look at this headline. It says, how can a policeman be telling me, oh, you are even an Igbo man protesting in Lagos? This was a time a lone protester was accosted by the Nigerian police and was told he has no right to protest in Lagos being an Igbo man. And I said, for real? Where are we heading to as a country? Now you can really sense how divided this country is. APC has really succeeded in splitting Nigeria apart. Take your time and watch these clips and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe and turn on the bell notification. Now take a look.
When I was in their van, they handcuffed me very tight and they were making some statements that I had of. For instance, how could a policeman be telling me, oh, you are even an Igbo man and you are protesting in Lagos? As if they have forgotten. When Jonathan was in power, it was in Lagos we staged the protest against him. It was in Lagos we started all the protests that brought in democracy in this country. Why all this coming from police officers? I was even highly disappointed at the commander of Mopo 20, one ACP Idris. When he came with all his men. He said, bring him down, and I was brought down from the van. He said, remove his handcuff. Let him start his protest. I'll kill him here right now. He was telling me.
They told you to your face.
He told me, the ACP told me. He said, I'll kill him right here right now. Remove his handcuff. He took the intervention of the area commander of Iriaji, who happens to also be an assistant commissioner, to have said, please let it be. And I want to give kudos to the CP, who made a call to the area commander, and the phone was handed over to me. And he asked me what was the situation. And I told him. I spoke with the CP, and the CP immediately ordered that the handcuff should be removed and I should be treated in a VIP way, and I was taken in the area commander's personal vehicle down to my place. But I want to tell you that, if we must get it right in this country, we must begin to remove ethnicity from everything we do. I saw people reading ethnic meaning to what was happening. As if when Gani Adams was picked in those days, an Igbo man did not protest. As if when Igboho was picked recently, Igbo man did not protest. We must get it right.
All right.
Most especially coming from police officers, I will not take it. Right now, my necklace worth 500,000 has been taken away. I feel pains on my hand while I talk to you.
Your necklace worth 500,000 has still not been returned to you.
No. Even my megaphone.
This happening to Kanu is not a trial, it's persecution. I mean, you've been trying someone since 2015. Then you killed his father, killed his family, and then you instituted the so-called trial again in 2000. And after extraordinarily renditioning him illegally from Kenya, you continued the charade since I think 2022, thereabout. And this is 2025. So more than how many years of the charade? So
that Mr. Nnamdi Kanu should be given an opportunity to defend himself. And I have no doubt in my mind that those who are handling his defense, especially led by the most respected Mr. Kanu Agadi, will be able to couch a formidable defense for him. And it will be nice to see that at the end of the day, justice is done. Now, justice being done is in the interest of the larger society, not just for that of an individual. We cannot allow things to go haywire and we bend rules in certain situations, and we do not. But then again, I'm quick to add that whilst you may say, yes, Mr. Kanu should go to court and defend himself, then there are people who justifiably have said, how about those who have been caught with arms? How about those who have been caught killing fellow Nigerians? How about those who have been caught maiming Nigerians? How about those who have been caught shooting at security personnel? So there has to be a balance. That's what the sense of justice and the hard jurisprudence.
So let me quickly
balance in such a way that anyone who steps out of a courtroom or goes into a court will feel that what is good for the rules is also good for the Ghana.
Indeed. I know you have quite a busy day as senior advocate, but I want to quickly put this in as we wind down. Does it seem really hard for the federal government to release Mr. Nnamdi Kanu? I mean, you understand the process and all of the, inner workings. Would that be a tough decision for the federal government to make?
Well, I'll put it this way. When matters like this come up, it's an admixture of politics, the law, and the society. So in what direction should we gravitate? The question is, what is the most important issue to address in the overall interest of the country? A trial has started. I would wish that this administration prevented the trial from going on, but a trial has started. It has gone halfway. The prosecution has finished with its own case. The defense has been called upon to defend itself. Should we ask the federal government to withdraw this charge? Yes, the Attorney General has the power to enter a nullity. But if we do this now, we must be assured that we're going to have to do it again and again. If Mr. Nnamdi Kanu has good defense, I think he should be allowed to have his day in court. But if we think that the outcome itself will heat up the polity more than it will not, then there is a need for wisdom to prevail. Thank you.
So as we wind down now, just if you can do this in 60 seconds, because it's just as critical to the conversation. Yes, the Constitution frowns on secessionist agitation, but the Constitution also frowns on the killing of Nigerians. And those who are asking for balance are also asking who takes responsibility for the death of 28 people in Nnamdi Kanu's compound back then in 2016, and Amnesty International's report of the killing of 150 Nigerians by security agents. Who is supposed to initiate this case in the spirit of justice?
Now, that's, you see, I used the word balance. Now, if there are people who have been killed, they have families. People who have been killed, they have friends. People who have been killed, they have associates as well. Now, they also, maybe they're not bold enough to come out to say so, although some of them have in the recent past, only a few days ago. The question then is, should those people be told, well, Nnamdi Kanu brought about, directly or indirectly, the killing of your own members of the family, should simply go scot-free? Then they also will feel very aggrieved and unhappy about this. And so this is a situation where we find ourselves. Either way you go, some people will feel aggrieved. So I am speaking in terms of the law. I think Mr. Nnamdi Kanu should be allowed to have his stay in court.
Brilliant. So welcome to the show. Let's look at the trial from the beginning up until this point. We know that the NMA team that was giving that charge to look through Mr. Nnamdi Kanu's health has declared that he's fit for trial, and we also know that. The court has asked that his defense should begin. But help us go through from the beginning up until where we are now. And how fair would you say this trial has been so far?
Thank you. First, let us look at why Mr. Nnamdi Kanu is in court. He has charges brought against him. And let's go from the very beginning. In 2021, there were some charges brought against him, and the court rules that it should be released, and the charges were struck out. I think the charges were dismissed. Then the federal government went on appeal, and still Nnamdi Kanu was asked to be released. Fresh charges have now been brought against him. The prosecution has presented its evidence. The defense team, led by Mr. Kanu Gabi, raised the submission saying that his client had nothing to warrant the court to ask him to come up with a defense, in no case submission. The court didn't agree with that and said, Nnamdi Kanu should come up with no defense, and the trial should continue. In the midst of all that, like you said, the court has asked NMA to assess Mr. Nnamdi Kanu and determine if he was fit for the trial. The NMA came out with a report saying that yes, indeed, Mr. Nnamdi Kanu is fit for trial. So where we are now is, should Mr. Nnamdi Kanu be given an opportunity to defend himself? I think yes, he should be given an opportunity to defend himself. Because essentially we have always had situations in our country where people have been crying about fair hearing, and a lot of people have said that they were not given an opportunity to be heard, or they were not given sufficient opportunity to defend themselves. In this situation, I think every Nigerian should be interested in seeing that Mr. Kanu is given an opportunity to defend himself. Now, that's speaking about the law. Then, of course, there are the other sentimental aspects of this whole matter, and there's also the political. But I'm here just to speak to you about what the position of the law is. What he's being charged for is terrorism. And if you want to determine what terrorism is, once you instill fear or threaten violence of the society or government for political or religious ends, then that'll be act of terrorism. And actually contrary to Terrorism Prevention Amendment Act 2013. So the question is Mr. Nnamdi Kanu guilty of this? It's for the court to determine that.
But the worry amid all of this, and this was expressed by our guest yesterday on the program, is that the trial, the federal government wants the trial to go through and ensure that he is jailed, and that would be counterproductive because according to the groundswell of opinion, Mr. Nnamdi Kanu is a prisoner of conscience and he's not guilty of the crimes that he's being charged with. What are your thoughts on this court of public opinion?
Well, let's face it. We cannot wish this whole scenario away. It's here with us, and so we've got to deal with it. We can decide to be legalistic about it and say the trial should go on and Mr. Nnamdi Kanu should be sentenced to terms of imprisonment or what have you. But it's important also to ask ourselves, what is the soul of the society saying? What do we really want as a people? Are there people genuinely against Mr. Nnamdi Kanu's incarceration, or are they in support of what he stands for? Then again, are there people who also are against what Mr. Nnamdi Kanu stands for and would like to see him jailed? I do not think any one of us can actually say that we have a balance. And my concern is this. I say this with a sense of responsibility. I think the leaders in the Southeast region should do a bit more in terms of being heard, in terms of the agitation, if indeed Mr. Nnamdi Kanu represents the agitation and the desire of the people of the Southeast. And unless you are an evil person, I believe you may not appreciate how an evil man feels. I'm not an evil man, so I do not exactly know how they feel. But if there are grievances, I think these grievances ought to be aired. And unless we allow that to be done, we shall have a situation where we are sweeping these things under the carpet. Do we want a Biafran state? Our constitution does not allow us to encourage the situation. But there can be agitation from the topmost echelon of the society in the Southeast region. And I think that is where they can then guard those who are out there to protest and say, this is what we want, this is how we intend to achieve it. But until when we have a proper choreographed agitation, we'll have a cacophony of noise here and there. And it will, the whole extent, may be lost. I think those who say that Nnamdi Kanu is a prisoner of conscience may be right. But then again, we cannot allow for people to be told to sit at home, people to be killed, people to be maimed. There has to be some organization. And let this debate start in earnest. That's my view.
And, lots of witnesses have, presented their own case, or at least their side of the story. We've had the DSS, for example, saying that no weapon was found on Mr. Nnamdi Kanu when he was arrested. Also said that he allegedly smuggled radio transmitter into the country. In fact, there was another witness of DSS that said that during the NSAS, try to link events of the NSAS to pronouncement of Nnamdi Kanu, where he made several statements calling on protesters to rise against the Nigerian state. So a lot of things are unfolding in court, and perhaps a lot of people are not following the court proceedings for a number of reasons. A lot of people can't even sit down or wait to read, the length of the stories on the court proceedings and all of that, which is why we have you here today. I recall, I think it was in 2022, the former Attorney General of Federation, Abubakar Malami, was speaking to the decision of the appeal court then to discharge and acquit Mr. Nnamdi Kanu. And the Attorney General then said that, he was discharged by the appeal court and not acquitted, which is why we then saw the case going on and on and on. for those who say that at least the federal government should have obeyed the appeal court, whether it was discharged or acquitted, but at least shown obedience to that court order, do you also see the federal government dropping the ball there? Because a lot of people point to that and say, how about you obey that court order before you then implement or at least continue with the case? What are your thoughts to that?
Right.
Mr. Juwon Sanyolu joins us now. He's the national coordinator of the Take It Back movement, whose organization organized the Free Nnamdi Kanu protest yesterday. Mr. Sanyolu, thank you so much for joining us this morning. There have been different reactions to the protest organized in the Federal Capital Territory yesterday, some of which we'll come to. But I want to find out from you if you're satisfied with the effect of the protest that you organized yesterday and if you're continuing today.
Yes, thank you. I would sincerely want to thank the Nigerian people who actually trooped out en masse. Despite intimidations from our security agencies, you would see people trooped out to march out. Yes, they were fired. People were fired. They were fired like 3 times, and more than 3 times they returned back to the barricades too, because we were insisting on a legitimate demand, and it's an issue that borders on our rights as a Nigerian citizen. Yes, so I would say authoritatively that we are indeed grateful to the Nigerian people who defied the lawless orders or disposition of our security agencies, whose job should have been to protect protesters, protect the Nigerian people, but they've done the contrary, and we seize this opportunity to state clearly that every of the security agencies who perpetrated these acts of lawlessness against Nigerian people, most of whom took out a mass, will definitely be brought to book under the law. And to be clear, the protest did not only happen in Abuja, it took out a mass in the states. They shut down their market in Lagos. The protest happened in Lagos. So I would say it was a successful outing. But I would also want to add that the protest that happened yesterday is not even compared to what we're going to organize next time, should the government of Tinubu remain recalcitrant on the legitimate demands to free Nnamdi Kanu.
Well, the protest was received with mixed reactions. You say that your demands are legitimate, but there are those who say, well, not just that there's those, it is a fact that the matter is currently in court. Mr. Nnamdi Kanu is currently facing trial in a court of law, and there are those who say, look, you should wait and see the process through. Perhaps the most you can do is apply pressure on the authorities to see that the the trial is brought to a logical conclusion in good time.
So it's what is going on with Nnamdi Kanu is not trial, it's clear persecution. And what exactly are the issues? The issues are people are saying they do not feel represented in Nigeria. And indeed, I do not feel represented in Nigeria. Many Nigerians, over 200 million of us, feel that way. 139 million Nigerians as of today are poor. This is the statistics of our World Bank, the same people who are advising the government to impose neoliberal policies on its people. And now the IMF has said that 139 million people are poor as a result of those policies. These 139 million people, they don't feel represented in Nigeria. Just try something, bring a ship into Nigeria, full ship, and say that, oh, this ship is leaving Nigeria to perhaps maybe somewhere in Germany or the US. This country would almost be empty, because on the average, Nigerians have seceded from this country. The only people who feel entitled and who think Nigeria is working are the handful who are plundering the country. So indeed, the demands are legitimate. Those who say they are tired of this country have legitimate concerns. And even those who are really not.
If I may, just a moment, if I may, because you have said that a lot of people will leave. Those who are doing legitimate work and are somehow still making headway.
139 Nigerian people are poor. Those 139 million people are just. This figure sounded like people who feel represented in a country that pauperized them. Very recently, in Lagos, 3 days ago, there was a protest in Lagos over forced demolition. Over thousands of communities have been displaced. Many of them have become homeless. People who have lived in those communities for decades. Those people, will you tell me here and now that they feel represented in this kind of Nigeria? The answer is no. So Nnamdi Kanu is not the only person who is raising the alarm that we do not feel represented. Okay. And the solution, and the solution to such is not. It's not a challenge described as a trial. It's a political solution. If we have a government that is negotiating with bandits who come with full armory, you understand? They are negotiating with them. They are discussing with them. What exactly is the crime of Kanu?
Okay, so let's differentiate this. I think that we have not seen the federal government negotiate with bandits. What we've seen are state governments negotiating with bandits. But let us be clear. You talked about the protest. Just a moment, Mr. Soyelu, if I may put a question across. I just wanted to take you up on the issue of lawlessness, because speaking with Mr. Jay yesterday, the the protest was going to hold, and that they got a legal document to stop you, that's the group, from going to the area around the 3-arm zone and a particular Shehu Shagari way, and that you could hold the protest anywhere else, but that so far they saw your approach towards that particular area and had to disperse you because your protest was against the law. How do you react to that?
Well, number one, we are not in possession of any such court order. Number two, I'm also aware that there is no court that can prescribe the right of Nigerians to freedom of expression, the right to protest, the right to freedom of assembly, the right to freedom of movement. These are established constitutional rights. And in addition, look, even people who, in Lagos, let me give you an instance. Don't let me talk about Abuja. In Lagos, there are people who protested in Lagos. They were beaten, tortured, violated. One of them is Declan. I've forgotten his surname. His name is Declan. So it was there a court order preventing the protesters in Lagos. And moreover, I just saw your journalist. He's on full gear as though he's going to the war in Gaza. You understand? And this is a confirmation that even journalists do not feel safe. So is there a court order barring journalists from doing their legitimate job, covering protests? So please, don't let us go. What the Nigerian police have displayed is complete lawlessness, and it is a crying shame on the government of Tinubu. The people who so-called people who said they fought for democracy. Of course, we need they never fought for anything but their pockets and self-interest. So let me say it categorically clear. It is a pattern of lawlessness on the Nigerian police. Last year was NSAS Memorial. This was the police. It was the same institution that killed hundreds of young people. I mean,
now that you've gone there, let me just take you up on that, because there are those who are quite angry on the day that you've chosen. I mean, looking at what happened on social media yesterday, there are those who are totally unhappy with the day that you've chosen. They thought that you desecrated the memories of those who died on that day, or who protested on that day, and some of them losing their lives. That you desecrated their memory by choosing to fix a protest on that day.
Well, many of those who make this claim are actually people who those are part of the people who are not interested in Nnamdi Kanu's release. For the avoidance of doubt, our organization, the Take It Back movement, was at the forefront of the NSAS protest in 2020. Long after everybody abandoned those who were arrested in prison, it was our organization that got many protesters, these are documented facts, many protesters out of prison. It was our organization that had been organizing NSAS Memorial. We organized NSAS Memorial in 2021. We organized in 2022. We organized even during election, after election 2023. We organized last year, about more than 8 of our comrades were beaten. They were brutalized by the Nigerian police. We got a court judgment against that brutalization, against the Nigerian police. And the call for the NSAS Memorial is a reiteration for the call for justice, the call for social justice, so that protesting to free Nnamdi Kanu is a call for justice. Everything the NSAS protest represented. And to also add, it is also on record that in Abuja, we observed that day, had a 1-minute silence in recognition of the sacrifices young people like myself played during the protest. Those who are making this claim did nothing.
Okay, so let me just quickly ask this, and this is a yes or no. I'm so sorry that we don't have a lot of time. I would have stretched this a bit more, but we want to just confirm that the protest is not continuing today, is it?
The protest continues today in course, because currently about 13 people were unjustly arrested, and they are going to be arraigned in court today. But at any rate, plans are ongoing to return back to the barricades, and stronger than if the Nigerian, as I said earlier, if the Nigerian government fails to do the needful, if they can be negotiating with terrorists, they can definitely find a political solution to the ongoing persecution of Nnamdi Kanu.
So guys, let's end this conversation with some of the headlines on the Twitter space. You have heard it all. Sowore has really shown courage. We must applaud him. Honestly, we must applaud him. Protest in Nigeria under this APC is a threat to life. if we can go by what happened during the NSAS. Many people don't like to come out again to protest. Like somebody was saying that it will be difficult to ever organize a huge protest in Nigeria because number one, the North will tell you they don't want. When the South wants it, the North will not want. The Northerners are always like distancing themselves from anything that has to do with protest, you know. And again, the security agencies, considering that they are not well trained, considering that they want to show you, oh, we are in charge. Nobody considers the law. Protest is a constitutional right. Manage protest. Can you imagine you just came out unarmed protesters? You are now throwing tear gas on them, at them. That's African way of managing protest. You didn't even, like Sean was asking, why didn't you use, is it water can or so? You couldn't use water. You just went ahead to start throwing tear gas, which you know has its own side effects, considering one's health. There might be asthmatic people around. Even passerbys might be caught up in all that. So, but see, it's just that Nnamdi Kanu is going through all this because he's an able man. We all know that. Anyway, let me just take you through some of the things I'm seeing on Twitter here. There is this woman who is from Edo State who was kidnapped by kidnappers. She has been pleading for her life that Nigerians should help gather money. I think the money they're asking for is about 20 million. So she's begging Nigerians. As at this point, there's this video that was posted by the bandits that she's about being pied. You know? That she's about being pied, and somebody just posted it. Now, let's move away from that. The deputy speaker of Abia State has come out to say that by 2027, I will restore the government house to Omaya and correct all wrongs, says Honorable Ben Kanu. The APC man, who is the deputy speaker in the House of Rep, is saying that he wants to run for governorship. And the only thing he wants to achieve for Ndiabia is to restore government house to Omaya. How is that the problem of Ndiabia? How is that the problem? It's like saying you want to remove federal capital now from Abuja to Lagos. How is that the need of the people? Just tell me. How? APC, they have no clue of what leadership is called. All they want is to come and look for the ones others have built to destroy. Just like they destroyed the economy Jonathan was able to build. Till today, we've not recovered. And instead of them to say... So guys, let me also take you through more reactions this morning on the Twitter space. This person say, Maurice Monye says, Nigeria population is 6 times... their population... Okay, he's talking about China. Their population is 6 times Nigeria's population, yet politicians tell you that we are overcrowded, so we can't all get houses. If you come to defend them, hope you have your house. So 90% of China now own their own homes. My God, 90% of Chinese people now own their own homes. This is amazing. Upon their population. Hey, Nigeria, where are we heading to? These politicians, they finished us, honestly. They finished us to these politicians. They've dealt with Nigerians so badly. I mean it. How do you go? How do you go? Now, let me take you through some of the reactions. 90% of Chinese people own their own houses. It's either you built or you bought from someone who built. Now, let's see. I'm sure they dress like houses and on their own version of Hallelujah Challenge, and God gave them home. Good government accountability has nothing to do with it. I'm sure they dressed like houses. I don't understand this person. He says government accountability has nothing to do with people getting homes. That's false. Every Nigerian should read this book, The Republic. I believe this is the template China used to build their economy with some adaptation. Wow. How old is China? Yeah, wait now. This person is asking how old is China. That's the difference between a nation and a place that call themselves a nation. A nation have a government, a place have politicians and criminals. Government works for taxpayers. Government work for taxpayers. Politicians loot the tax. So the politicians have houses around the world while the taxpayers suffer. Tinubu now raised the tax. In a country where fake acts, unfortunate religion leaders will tell their mumu congregation that they need to pray for hopeless, useless and unpatriotic ruiners of the country, then to demand for good governance as their civil right and So what this person is trying to say is that Nigeria is a place where leaders, religious leaders tell the people to pray instead of telling them to make demand for good governance. This person said this kind of mediocrity sense, the kind of mediocrity sense most Nigerians have is alarming. For the past 2 weeks, I've been in China, and Maurice Monye, what you have just said has been pounding in my head. Some Nigerians believe it's not possible to have 24 hours in Nigeria because of population. China is a country, Nigeria is not. In Nigeria, we are citizens. We are citizens at gunpoint, and those holding the guns and the citizens are busy looting and hiding the stolen wealth in other countries because they don't believe in Nigeria to make a meaningful impact. Let's agree on how we can live together. It's really sad that if some of these politicians, as at this time, are still hiding their money outside the country. I hope you know that China is not practicing the rubbish democracy you guys are hyping. Just say mean while politicians own 90% of homes in Nigeria. Most developed countries are not where they are today because of their leaders, but because of the sacrifice and discipline of their citizens many decades ago. Meanwhile, we are still trapped by tribal and religious statements. Yet, we keep blaming leaders for everything. So this man is saying, don't blame the Nigerian leaders, blame the Nigerians themselves who are tribal. It's not about the figure, it's about the structure. Nigerian population is rapidly growing while China is slowing. Rapid population growth is a menace to development. Don't be dumb. Formally requests or lectures on this. I'm available. Think about China one-child policy. I don't know how people even think. Yes, China one-child policy. Have you also considered that politicians get punished when they are corrupt? That doesn't happen in Nigeria. This other person says, when you have serious folks running the government, people who do not steal and loot the country treasury, this is what you get. 90% own their own houses, meaning almost everybody is a house owner, including most of the younger ones. What a record. Oh my God, what a record. Firstly, they speak one language. There is unity, and they are practicing one-party government. They control the citizen. If we want Chinese method, every region will have to go their separate ways. Nigeria will have to be divided into almost 7 regions until that you can never. So there are a lot of reactions from Nigerians. Let me know your take that almost 90% of Chinese people own their own houses, but in Nigeria, eh? Oh my God, I don't even want to go there. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Thank you.